Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our first playthrough of Atlantic Chase last week, we're going to lead off Pandemic Month with a new Pandemic System game to the channel as we play Star Wars: The Clone Wars. In this game, we take on the roles of various Jedi in the Star Wars universe from during the Clone Wars era to defeat a villain. This game has similarities to the Pandemic System, but it's different. It has its own distinct differences, which we'll get to see over the course of the game. With that, let's go first meet today's villain. There are 4 villains that are included with the game. Let me adjust the camera just a little bit. I think that's the best I can do. There are 4 villains that are included with the game. You've got General Grievous, Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and the subject of today's game, Asajj Ventress. There's her mini. She doesn't require anything special in terms of setup. She's got 3 health, so we'll be able to attack her as an action. And then something to note when we go to activate the villain: if Ventress is on a mission planet, we advance threat. I'll explain more about how threat works when we get over to the board, so we can see how everything's set up there. Then the flavor text here: the Sith assassin strikes against the Jedi and the Republic at the command of her master, Count Dooku. So we'll take all of that back over to the board, and then we'll work our way over there, but we'll stop off with today's heroes first. Our first hero today is Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's Padawan. Ahsoka Tano is a free action. She can exhaust up to 2 cards. For each deal 1 damage on your planet or a connected planet. Following direct orders isn't always the best way to solve a problem. There's Ahsoka's mini, so we'll move her over to the board, and we'll figure out on the back of this card how we move, where we move Ahsoka to start the game. She starts over on Christophsis. So that will be over here. And then Ahsoka starts. I'll point our starting characters out when we move over to the board. Each character will start off with 3 squads. I'll put that back on Ventress. So these are squads. So similar to the Pandemic games. Actually, this might be. I think this is probably going to be most similar to World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King Pandemic, where you can use these cards to contribute with the attack actions. But I'll explain more about how that works when we get into them. So Ahsoka's first squad. 3PO and R2 do not seem like they should be in the deck to start with. I mean, if it doesn't say anything about them, I'm not going to complain. Yeah. It just says prepare the squad deck and place it face down near the squad deck. Okay then. I stand corrected. So I guess she can have this to start with. C-3PO and R2-D2. You can discard this on a mission planet to add 2 successes to a mission attempt or attack on the mission planet. And I'll explain more about what goes into that when we get into it. Her next squad. A V-19 Torrent. She can double a flight from her planet, limit 1 transport per flight, and Appa, which is a stealth squad, so add a success to an attack on your planet. Now, there are also going to be red squads. I think those are more attack. You can't combine those on an attack action, and I'll explain more about that when we get into an actual attack during the game, but that will do it for Ahsoka. Now let's go meet our second player. Our second player is Ahsoka's master, Anakin Skywalker. So we'll bring his card up to take a look at it. As a free action, he can attack, using any of his cards as if they were the red squad during this attack. It's when things don't go as planned that we Jedi are at our best. There's Anakin's mini, and where is he off to start the game? Coruscant. So we'll put him down here at Coruscant. I'll move that off the board for the time being. Then we'll take a look at Anakin's starting squad. So his first squad, 5s, which is a stealth squad. Once again, similar to Oppo for Ahsoka, he can add an attack to a... He can add a success to an attack on his planet. Then Boyle, which is an assault squad, also can add a success to an attack on his planet. And this is what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about it briefly for Ahsoka. So if Anakin attacks, unless he's using his free action, he can't use both of these in an attack. So he's using one type of attack squad or the other. And then for his last squad, he's got a Dogma, which is another stealth squad. Add a success to an attack on your planet. So that's all of our characters. Now we need to finish a little bit of setup. So we need to move over to the board for that. We've got Ahsoka up here at Christophsis and Anakin down here at Coruscant. You can see that the board is basically a Star Wars galaxy map from the Clone Wars era. Excuse me. But definitely a lot of the worlds you'll recognize, like Naboo, Alderaan, again, Coruscant, Corellia, Tatooine, Geonosis, Camino, and so on. I won't go through every single world here. I'll only go through the relevant ones. So next up, like I said, we do need to finish a little bit of setup. First thing we need to do is invade planets. So we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. These are where our starting droids are going to be. These first 2 are going to get 3 droids apiece. Kashyyyk is going to get 3, which is right up here, so we need 3 droids there, which is quite a ways out of position for us. This next one gets 3 as well. Coruscant, which is right on top of Anakin, so I know what his first action might end up being. These next 2 get 2 droids. Alderaan, which is also near Anakin. He's going to be surrounded here in a hurry. And Felucia gets 2. These next 2 get 1, and the very last one will get Ventress as well. Now, Hutta gets 1. And Tatooine gets 1 and Ventress, which is also right on top of which is also not that far from Ahsoka. So sending her to try to chase Ventress off the board right away might not be a terrible idea. But before I get into where our missions are today, I do want to point out a couple of things. So up here we've got the invasion track, which when we go to invade planets, that determines how many cards we actually draw. Right now we're at the leftmost marker, so we're drawing 2 cards from the invasion deck. Then we've got the threat track over here. So if that ever gets all the way down to the bottom, Darth Sidious wakes up and we will lose the game at that point. So we do need to keep an eye on that. We've got Ventress's deck up here. I've got a reminder marker on Ventress so that if she's on a mission planet, that we advance threat. So let's go ahead and find out where our missions are today. So our first orange mission is a cat and mouse on, oh joy, on Christophsis, right on top of Ahsoka. So when drawn, we have to place a blockade on it. We can use purple and blue squads toward it. We need 6 successes to clear it, and we do a damage when we clear it. So we do need so I'll put that there. Oh, that's going to be a problem. All right, so we place a blockade there. That is going to be a problem if Ventress takes quick moves toward Christophsis. We need to get that blockade gone right away because we can't touch anything else until we get rid of that blockade. But our white mission, Liberty on Ryloth, we can use red or yellow squads, which is not one we have. We need 6 to clear it, 1 damage. When completed, each Jedi on Ryloth suffers 1 damage. 1 Jedi may exhaust 1 blue squad to cancel this effect. The Separatists attempt to bomb the capital city rather than allow the Republic to liberate it. We'll bring the other mission back up. That's on Ryloth. To look at the flavor text there. A prototype stealth ship... Hang on, let this come into focus. A prototype stealth ship attempts a supply run as Separatist Admiral Trench blockades the planet. Delightful. Alright. So that is everything set up. Ahsoka's our first player, so let's get into this playthrough. Our starting missions are actually clumped together with Ventress right there. So there's an argument to be made. Actually, I can make arguments for clearing the blockade first, or for going to try to get Ventress off the board right away. But I think... Let's see if we can clear the blockade first. So I'll bring the dice tray into shot, because we've got a special D12 that we're using that is actually too big for the... That's actually too big for the dice tower. So you'll roll it, and that's what we want to see. We want to see successes. We don't want to see that, though. We don't want to see damage. We need 2 damage to clear the blockades. The droids take 1. The villain, in this case Ventress, has 3 health. So we need to do 3 damage to her. And we can't stack damage on anything to try to clear it. We have to do all the damage in one shot. So anyway, let's go ahead and roll to get this blockade clear. That is 2 successes and a damage, which I will discard the... When you take damage, you have to discard a squad. So I'll have to discard the V-19 Torrent, but I will clear the blockade. So that's action 1. Action 2, I'm going to move up to Tatooine, mostly, like I said, so I can chase Ventress off the board. Then we'll attack again for 3. That's 2 and another damage. I will exhaust Oppo to add a 4th attack to a 4th damage, which means we get rid of the droid and chase Ventress off the board, but we still take 1 damage, so I will have to discard Oppo. So 1 to clear the blockade, 2 to move to Tatooine, 3 to attack, 4 I'll draw a squad. So Ahsoka will draw. Arquitans. Double a flight from your planet, limit 1 transport per flight. Still, that's very welcome to replace some of the squads. She may end up just redrawing squads this turn. With that, we're all done, so now we go to activate the villain. Thankfully, Ventress is not on a mission planet. That was way too close. So we don't do anything there. Then we draw a card from the villain deck. We draw Assassin. Ventress is not on the board, so we don't do any of that. So that goes to the discard pile. We resolve it without further incident. And let's move down to Anakin. I knew the board was looking a little too quiet after Anakin's turn was over. So we do need to invade planets for Ahsoka. So we have to rewind Anakin's entire first turn. So coming back for Ahsoka, we find Geonosis gets a droid, and Onderon, toward the middle of the board, right on Anakin's path, gets a droid. So that will do it for Ahsoka. Now let's move down to Anakin. Anakin will start off by using his free action to attack. 1, and we'll exhaust Boil and Dogma to take out all 3 droids, but he still takes a damage back. We'll discard Boil. We're not really in danger of anything going off yet, so I think we're just going to do a little bit of a restock. So for action 1, we'll draw a new squad, so Anakin will draw Bark Speeder to prevent 1 damage to a Jedi on your planet. Action 2, he'll move up to Alderaan. Action 3, we'll attack. Get Bubkiss out of it. We'll exhaust 5s to do Yeah, we'll exhaust 5s to do a damage on the planet, then we'll exhaust the bark speeder to prevent the damage coming in. So, so let me think. Free action to attack, action 1 to move, 2 to attack, or 2 to draw a squad, 3 to attack. We'll draw a squad for action 4, so Anakin will draw. BTLB Y-Wing. Double a flight per planet, limit 1 transport per flight. Alright, so that's Anakin's 4 actions. We would activate Ventress, except she's not on the board. So we'll draw a card from her deck. We will draw Planet Under Siege. So let's move back up top to resolve this. This is Planet Under Siege is basically your outbreak card in this version of Pandemic. So first we'll advance the invasion marker. So we're still drawing 2 planets when we go to invade, 2 cards from the invasion deck when we go to invade. We draw the bottom card of the invasion deck and fill it to 3. So our card here, Mustafar, fills to 3 droids. Then we shuffle the invasion discard, and we place it face down on top. That's always the fun part. Okay, there's our cut. And then we'll invade planets. So first up we'll invade. Geonosis gets a droid. As will Onderon get another one. That's it for Anakin. Let's go to Ahsoka. With her side of the board quiet-ish, this could be a good time to try to draw and stock up on some squads. So I think Ahsoka will spend 2 actions to do that. So action 1, she will draw Blitz, which is not helpful right now on, well, it's helpful on the Ryloth mission, but not on Christophsis. That's probably our bigger problem right now. It's just adding another success to the damage. Then action 2, then she'll draw another squad for action 2. Waxer, which is helpful on Christophsis. Action 3, she'll fly, exhausting our acquaintance to get 2 spaces. So she'll get down, she'll head toward Utapau to get to Mustafar. We'll tip the camera down just a touch so we can see Ahsoka. Then I'll exhaust Blitz and Waxer for free action, which means she can do 2 damage on her planet or a connected planet. We'll do 2 damage on Mustafar to keep things clear there. Let's see, action 1 and 2 to draw, 3 to move. That was a free action. So action 4, Ahsoka will draw another squad. She will draw ATTE. This is armor. Prevent 1 damage to a Jedi on your planet. That'll be useful on Ryloth. So so now we're into the villain phase. We activate Ventress, but she's still not on the board. So from the villain deck, we'll find Assassin. Ventress is still not on the board. We chased her off early. So now we invade planets. We're still invading 2. We invade. Coruscant gets a droid, as does Alderaan, right on top of Anakin. That's it for Ahsoka. Let's move down to Anakin. All of Anakin's squads refresh heading into the turn. I do want to try to get him up to... I do want to try to get somebody over to Kashyyyk before that location blows up on me. So I think for action 1, We'll exhaust his Y-Wing to bring him up to Umbara. Then action 2, I'll move him up to Kashyyyk. Then I'll use a free action to attack. We'll bring the dice tray over here. I still have a speeder squad I can exhaust. 2 into damage, and I'll exhaust Dogma for an additional attack, which will take everything out. And then I'll exhaust the Bark Speeder to prevent the 1 damage on the die roll. That was a free action. Then I want to bring Anakin. I want to start bringing Anakin over to. I'm going to start bringing Anakin over toward the mission side of the board. I probably don't have. So basically, I'm going to start moving Anakin in this general direction, so he can help on the missions. Because right now our squads are kind of scattered all over the place. So Anakin has 2 actions left, which means I'll move him to Toydaria, then Rhodia. Just start working him in that general direction. So that's Anakin's 4 actions. So we activate Ventress. Once again, she's still not on the board. Night Sister. Ventress is on the board. Ventress would be on the board, but she's not. So we draw another villain card, which I have a feeling this will put her back on the board. Stalk. Ventress off board. Move her to the top of the discard pile planet, which right now is Alderaan. So Ventress to Alderaan. Thankfully, she's actually pretty far away from either of our missions right now. The closest one for us is 1, 2, 3 on Christophsis, unless we are able to clear that in the next couple of turns. But I'm getting ahead of myself there because we need to invade planets. So first up, Mustafar gets a droid. Good thing Ahsoka went down and cleared that out, as does Mission Planet, which is the orange Mission Planet, which right now is Christophsis. So that gets a droid as well. Alright, that is it for Anakin's turn. Let's move over to Ahsoka. Trying to clear that mission right now would not be a terrible idea, because right now, once I unexhaust everything, Ahsoka, let's see, Cat and Mouse uses purple and blue squads. Right now Ahsoka's actually got 4 successes in the bank right now, thanks to 3PO and R2. So we might actually go for that. So we'll move her up to Christophsis for 1. 2 and 3 will draw 2 more squads. So Ahsoka will draw Blythe, which is an assault squad, and then she will be at hand limit after this. Boost to add another successful attack. So, yeah, we need 6 successes, and like I said, I've got 4 in the bank right now if I want to try it. Actually, she could probably go up and clear Ryloth naturally. What is Anakin looking at? Actually, you know what? Let's roll for it. So action 4, Ahsoka is going to attempt the mission. Plus, I like this idea of also making Ventress have to go further. So we'll go ahead and roll this up. It's basically just like an attack roll. Let's see, 1, which I don't think, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, I'm going to be just short, and I take a damage. So, I only take the damage on the mission when I clear it, right? Yep. Okay, if the mission is completed. But not, okay. So I will exhaust the ATTE to prevent the damage from the die roll. We didn't have enough rolls to clear that. I can probably have Anakin come over and they can tag team that mission next turn, because any Jedi who's on the mission space can contribute to it. So that was Ahsoka's 4 actions, which means we activate Ventress. She is not on... She's just off shot here, but she's down on Alderaan. She's not on a mission planet, so we don't advance threat. We do draw a card, though, so we find Stalk, moving her 1 planet closest toward the closest mission, which either way it's going to be Corellia. And then we invade planets. So first up, we invade Nal Hutta, and White mission planet, so we invade Ryloth. That will do it for Ahsoka. We've got Anakin in shot right there. So action... Actually, we'll unexhaust this. I wonder... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. He would get there next turn, and Ahsoka could... And he could help Ahsoka. Actually, 1 free action. 2... No, I think we can still do it this turn. So action 1... He'll move down to Corellia. As a free action, he'll attack, so he can exhaust any of his squads. Okay, this... You guys are... Actually, I can probably get you the... Alright, I've got to remember I've got 2 droids on Mustafar. That dice tray is even more imposing than the towers, I think. Free action to attack, so he can exhaust any of his squads as if they were red for this attack. 2, and we'll exhaust 5s. So we'll chase Ventress off the board once again. We'll get that. Actually, we'll need that in shot here. Then he'll exhaust the transport for action 2 to move to Christophsis. Action 3, he'll roll the mission. 2 into damage, and anybody can contribute. So that takes purple... Actually, this, I think, lets me... Does this let me save 3PO and R2? So... No, I don't think it does, but I might not need that. With as many attack squads as Ahsoka's got, with as many... Actually, with as many assault squads as Ahsoka has, I might be fine without 3PO and R2. So that was 2. We'll exhaust Dogma for 3. Ahsoka will toss in Arquitens for 4, and discard 3PO and R2 for a total of 6 successes, since remember, we could discard this on a mission planet to add 2 successes to a mission attempt or attack on the mission planet. So 6 successes, which means Christophsis is done. So Anakin suffers 1... Actually, Anakin will suffer a total of 2 damage. He'll exhaust the Bark Speeder for 1, and discard Dogma for the other damage. So that's all handled. The mission does not have a when completed effect, so it can just go back to the box. And then we'll draw the third mission. We're playing on... I should have mentioned at the top that we're playing on Padawan difficulty, so we're only playing with 3 missions today. So we draw the new mission. Battle of Kashyyyk. We need red squads, 5 damage, or 5 successes, and 1 damage when it's completed. When drawn, we fill Kashyyyk up to 2 droids. Separatists launch a large-scale invasion of the Wookiee homeworld, targeting the planet's oil refinery. So we'll get that out of shot. We'll try not to jar the camera. We'll put the 2 droids back on Mustafar, and then we'll fill Kashyyyk up to 2 droids and put the orange marker on Kashyyyk. It's just up. Actually, you can see it there once I find the laser pointer. It's right there. Alright, so 1 to move down to Corellia, free attack, 2, 3. Anakin has 1 attack left. He will... he will draw a squad. So Anakin draws Wolf, which is another assault squad. So that's it for Anakin's actions. We would activate Ventress, except she's not on the board right now, so we'll shuffle up the villain. We'll shuffle up Ventress's deck. We'll give it a cut, and we'll draw a card from it. So we will draw Planet Under Siege. Delightful. Let's move back up top to resolve that. We advance the invasion marker 1, so now we're drawing 3 planets. And we'll draw the bottom card and fill it to 3 droids. We will find Rishi gets filled up to 3 droids, which is right up here with Nal Hutta, Camino, and Geonosis around it. 3 droids. Then we will shuffle the discard pile. Okay, so that's all done, and now we're drawing 3 cards. So first up we draw Mustafar gets another droid, so we're going to need to go back down and probably babysit that shortly. And next, Nal Hutta gets another droid. We got a lot of places we need to go babysit here. And Onderon again. Yikes. Okay, so got a bit of a mess on our hands, but we can probably clean it up. So let's turn to Ahsoka and see what we can do about that. As much as I want to send Ahsoka up to Ryloth to clear that right now, and that's actually very tempting, although she did just discard 3PO and R2 to help clear Christophsis, I think right now the bigger priority is probably to babysit some of these three droid locations. So for Action 1, she'll exhaust her Arquitans to move over to Camino. Action 2, she'll move up to Rishi. Action 3, she'll attack. And we'll exhaust Waxer to do the 3rd damage, which clears Rishi out. Then as a free action, she'll exhaust Boost and Blight to do 2 damage on Nal Hutta, clear 2 of those out. Okay, so move for 1, 2, attack 3. That was a free action, so action 4, I'll move that out of shot. I think action 4 will send her over to Nal Hutta, because I probably will be able to have her deal with... I probably will have her be able to deal with Kashyyyk on her own. So that's all 4 actions. We activate the villain. Ventress is not on the board, thankfully. Our card here. Assassin. Ventress is not on the board, so we don't do anything there. Then 3 cards. First up, Coruscant, which is nowhere near blowing up, thankfully. Second, White Mission Planet, which is Ryloth in this case. And Geonosis. So another planet that we might need to babysit, but we did just draw the planet under siege on Anakin's last turn, so I'm not completely in a hurry. I'm not completely alarmed about that. So Anakin's cards refresh. Geonosis is another planet that looks like we need to babysit it a bit. So for action 1, I'll exhaust Anakin's Y-Wing to bring him up to Geonosis. Whether I go via Tatooine or Ryloth, it's still going to be 2 spaces to get there, so we're all good there. Anakin will free action to attack on Geonosis. One, and we'll exhaust Wolf and 5s to do 3 damage on Geonosis, which clears that out. Remember, on his free action, he can exhaust any of his cards. He can use any of his cards as if they were assault squads during the attack. So he clears everything out there. That was a free action, so we'll go ahead and just draw some more squads, I think. Trying to get the... I primarily want to get more yellow squads so I can potentially have Ryloth go a little bit easier. So that was one free action, so 2, 3, 4, I think. Action 2 will be Comet, which is another assault squad. Action 3, we'll draw again, so Anakin will draw. Lat, which is another armor squad that he can exhaust to prevent 1 damage. That's actually very helpful. Then action 4, we'll move over to Ryloth. Right, so we activate Ventress. And she's off the board, so she's coming out to Geonosis, which is actually a problem. And then we invade planets, so 3 more here. Orange Mission Planet, which is Ahsoka. Good thing she's going in that direction this turn. Unfortunately, this is a problem because we know Kashyyyk is in the top section of the deck. Rishi. And Alderaan. So I think the plan here is probably going to bring Ahsoka down to Kashyyyk and deal with everything there this turn. Let's see, what do I need? I need red squads there. Actually, even if I just exhaust 2 of... I could even probably just exhaust 2 of Ahsoka's cards and use her free action. I'm pretty sure I can still fight through droids. But I know I can't fight through blockades. I'm pretty sure I can still mission through with a planet or a villain. Okay, so yeah. So as long as the blockade or Ventress is not there, I can still attempt the mission. But I think the first thing I'll do is I will exhaust the Arquitans and Waxer to do 2 damage, say that 5 times fast, on Kashyyyk. I don't want that to blow up on me right now. Action 1, I'll move her down to Kashyyyk. Action 2, we'll attempt the mission there. Two and a damage, but I will just exhaust my 3 red squads to bring me up to 5, and Ahsoka's completed that, so she does take 2 damage, which I'll exhaust the ATTE and then discard it. So basically I only have to discard 1 squad there. But that mission's done, and because we're playing on Padawan, we don't have another yellow mission, which I believe means it just... If all missions... Okay, so we place the empty mission marker on the other mission planet, which is Ryloth. Okay, so that was... Okay, so action 1 was to attack. Then we did a free action. Action 2 is to move in. 3 to attempt the mission. Action 4 will be to draw a card. So Ahsoka will draw. Another armor squad, AT-RT. Alright, so that's Ahsoka's 4 actions, which means we activate Ventress. She's not on a mission planet. She hasn't been once all game, so we don't advance threat. Here we draw. Ventress on the board. Roll the die. Move Ventress 1 planet per success toward the closest mission. Then each Jedi on her or a connected planet suffers 1 damage. So we need the tray back in shot. 2, so she's actually going to move to Ryloth. Anakin will suffer 1 damage, which he will exhaust a speeder squad to prevent. And then we need 3 droids. Then we need 3 planets to invade. So first up, Tatooine gets a droid. Then Kashyyyk gets a droid. Good thing Ahsoka went and dealt with Kashyyyk before that became a problem. And Felucia gets a droid. So I think we're starting to get into... Well, we're not really into new planets, but we do have a 3 spot that we're going to need to... We do have a couple 3 spots that we need to deal with. Anakin's turn will unexhaust everything here. We need to keep his red and yellow squads available for the mission if we can. So I think for action 1, Anakin will attack. He'll use his free action to attack. I need to get Ventress off the board. Okay, so that's 1 and a damage. Question is, what's more important? I can exhaust 4 squads. Actually, I can exhaust 4 squads to get everything off the board, so Anakin only takes the 1 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Ventress comes off the board, the droids come off the board, and then Anakin suffers 1 damage, which I will exhaust a Bark Speeder to prevent. So that was his free action. Let's see, action 1. Let's draw a squad, see if I can find another transport squad. Which I cannot. I find another purple squad instead, Gree. 2, 3, 4 to plan on babysitting Mustafar. I have a feeling I'm going to want to be on this side of the board toward the end of the game. So, yeah, I think that's what we do. I think we just plan on going to babysit some of our 3 spots. So, yeah, I'll tip the camera. I'll have to play with the zoom and tip the camera a bit. So we'll go 2, 3, 4. We'll activate the villain, except Ventress isn't on the board. But we will draw a card from the deck. Ventress is off the board, so we place her on the top planet of the discard pile. So she goes to Felucia, which thankfully is far away from Ryloth. So all we need to do now is get to Ryloth before she does and clear that out quickly, which I think we can do. But we need to invade planets first. We may end up with problems along the way. Ord Mantell gets a droid. Mon Cala gets its first droid. And Bardota gets a droid, which is down here. Good thing the cards have reference maps on them. So that brings us back to Ahsoka's turn. Everything unexhausts. Question is, can we get to Ryloth this turn? Ventress is going to be very slow in moving to... Let's see, I think we put all 3 of our current... We have 1 card left, and we have all 3 of our... I think we have all 3 of our current hotspots. Felucia, Alderaan, and Onderon are all currently in the discard pile, so I do need to be aware of that. But I think we do plan on racing blockades here. So I will exhaust our quittance for action 1 to move to Rishi. 2, 3 to Ryloth. And then 4, I'll attempt the mission. Wow, 3 successes. So I'll exhaust 4, 5, 6 on my red squads. I will take 2 damage, so I'll do what I've been doing. 1 on ATRT and discard it. So when completed, each Jedi on Ryloth suffers 1 damage. One of those Jedi may exhaust a blue transport to cancel its effect, except I don't have one, so I'll have to discard another squad. I'll have to discard boost, I think. And then with that being done, I'll bring this off of shot. Now I think we're ready for the finale. Then we reveal that... I believe we reveal that immediately, or do we reveal that... When you complete the last card, okay, immediately flip it up. So this is before we even activate Ventress, so now Ventress flips over. Finale setup. Place Ventress and both mission markers on Sullust. So Ventress and both mission markers on Sullust. Fill Sullust to 2 droids. And return the reminder marker to the box. So thankfully we no longer have the problem of advancing threat like crazy. So the mission here is a dogfight. We need red or blue squads, and we need 10 successes total. When completed, we win the game. Asajj Ventress. Ventress leads droid forces in battle above Sullust when she is suddenly betrayed by her master. She lashes out at her Jedi pursuers. Oh joy. So now we don't have to worry about activating Ventress during the... So we are able to attempt missions during the finale while there's a villain on the planet. The only problem right now is we've got Ahsoka way out of position, but we're not too bad, and we have a lot of red squads, so we aren't going to be able to chase Ventress off the board anymore. Hopefully that won't be a big problem. But we do need to activate the villain, so Ventress doesn't do anything now. So we'll just draw a card from her deck. We will find Ventress is on the board. Move her 1 planet close toward the closest mission. She's already there. Then each Jedi on her planet or a connected planet exhausts 1 card. Does Anakin have... Yes, he's got a card to exhaust. He will exhaust Gree. But then we have to draw another villain card as per the text on the bottom. Right. And then the new card from the deck is Assassin. Roll the die, move Ventress 1 planet per success toward the closest mission. I'm not going to bother because she's already there. Then each Jedi on her or a connected planet suffers 1 damage. So Anakin will suffer 1 damage, which he will put on Lat to exhaust that. So let's move down to Anakin for his next turn. Actually, before we do that, we need to invade planets. Let's not derp on that again. Camino gets a droid. We are still invading 3 planets. Sereno gets a droid. And Ryloth gets a droid right on top of Ahsoka. Alright, so that was a busy turn. We're down to Anakin. I'm thinking about taking a bit of a calculated gamble here. I did just shuffle the deck. I did just shuffle Ventress's deck. But the gamble here is if I can duck Planet Under Siege twice, I should be able to win the game on... probably on Ahsoka's neck. Not this coming turn for Ahsoka, but the next one. Because my plan with Ahsoka is I'm going to probably use her transport and probably use her acquittance to get her to Utapau and try to draw some more red or blue squads to try to help with dealing with Ventress. But what we need to do right now for Anakin is we need to get these droids off the board just in case we don't duck the planet under siege. We're going to be shuffling Mustafar back into the top. So if I can get at least one hotspot under control, I'll feel a lot better about trying to race the deck out, because we do have Mustafar in the top I'd say it looks like we actually have more than half of the deck in there. So if we can shuffle those hotspots nice and deep, we won't have any problems there. But let's go ahead and we'll free attack first. See what happens there. 2, and I'll exhaust the bark speeder to take everything out on Mustafar. So that was Anakin's free action. Yeah, Anakin's actually pretty good right now on squads. He's at 3 relevant squads. So there's an argument to be made to try to get more relevant squads. I could also potentially go babysit some of these trouble spots, but if I do that, I get Anakin too far out of position to be able to help with Ventress on Sullust. Problem is, there isn't really much for him to do right now. Because we've got one hotspot that I don't think we can... We've got one hotspot in Felucia that I don't think we can do much with. The problem right now is I think all of our hotspots are too out of the way for us right now, so I almost feel like we just plan on racing at this point. I'll leave the speeder exhausted just in case we... I mean, there's an argument to be made to try to cycle through and draw some more squads, but just try to draw some more relevant squads. I think if we ever draw up to more than 7, we immediately discard down. Is it immediate or end of turn? Immediate, okay. So yeah, there's like I said, there's an argument to be made to try to cycle through and get some more relevant squads. So that was his free action, which I think I'll act on. So action 1, we'll go ahead and draw a squad card. He will draw Stack, which actually is not a relevant squad, so that can go away. Action 2, he'll draw as well. He'll draw again. RX-200 Falchion, which is not a relevant squad right now either. Action 3. Padme Amidala. Discard during the action step. The current Jedi does 2 extra actions. I think I'm going to keep that. I'll discard Gree, and then I'll plan on Anakin tossing that so Ahsoka can do 2 more actions. Because she's actually got 4 squads right now. She could stand an extra draw. Let's see, so that was action 2. Action 3. Do we even really have an action 3 right now? I think we just keep drawing. So we'll draw Delta 7 Aether Sprite. That's a transport squad. That'll be helpful. We'll toss 5s for that. And then action 4, do we have one more? Yep, we have one more squad we can discard. So he'll draw again. He'll draw Honda Onaka. Discard to move 1 Jedi to any planet. Can't interrupt an action. Oh, this is perfect. So, actually, this kind of just opens up my options. So, this is basically action 4, but now I actually can discard. So if I want to pull Ahsoka the question is, who do I want to pull? Do I need to move Anakin? No, I think this works. Yeah, this should work. So I can get Ahsoka to Utapau naturally. Move her down to Sullust, discard to draw twice, and then go for the mission. I think that works. So I'll discard Hondo to move... Or I could just move Ahsoka to... I could just move Ahsoka to Sullust and plan... No, Anakin's out of action, so that won't work. The plan I was having was to discard... Was to pull Ahsoka to Sullust, but I don't think that'll work. I think for this to work, and for me to potentially be able to win the game on the turn, I need to move Anakin to Sullust. Which feels like a waste, but I'm out of actions, so there's nothing I can do there. With that, we'll draw a card, so we will draw... Stock, which Ventress is already on the board, so we don't do anything there. Then we draw 3 cards from the Invasion deck. We draw... Dathomir gets a droid. Then... Corellia gets one as well. And... Sullust gets a droid as well. Joy. But I don't think that's going to be a problem now because we have managed to duck the... I think we managed to duck everything. So, we're back to Ahsoka's turn, which Anakin will toss Padme so Ahsoka can do 2 extra actions. So Ahsoka has 6 actions this turn. First action, she'll exhaust the Arquitens to move to Utapau. Then she'll move into Sullust. Then we'll draw... Okay, so that was action 1 to move to Utapau. Action 2 down to Sullust. Action 3 will draw, so Ahsoka will draw. Jet, which is not a relevant squad. It's a stealth squad. Action 4, she'll draw again. She will draw. ETA-2 Actus, which is a relevant squad. Action 5, she'll draw again. She will draw. Hardcase, which is a relevant squad. And then action 6. Let's see, we are banking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as long as we roll at least 2 successes, we will actually complete the mission and win the game. This is one of the only missions where... This is one of the only missions where you don't take damage from the roll on this. So, like I said, we need at least 2 successes. We get none. That's a huge problem. So when we attempt mission, okay, we don't take any damage from that. And then activating the villain, I think it tells you what to do. Okay, so that's unfortunate, but at least now we have another... At least we'll have another shot at it on Anakin's next turn. But before we do that, that was our 4 actions. So we activate the villain. Ventress doesn't do anything. Then we draw a villain card. Stock, which just moves her to the closest mission, which she's already there. Then we invade 3 planets. First up, Umbara gets a droid, which is right here. Then Toydaria gets one. Right up here. And Rhodia gets one. Rhodia being right here, right toward the middle of the board. Right, down to Anakin's turn. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Much better. All right, action 1 will draw a card, so Anakin will draw. Razor, which is not a relevant squad. Action 2 will draw, so we'll draw again, so he will draw. Pawns, which will get discarded. Action 3 will take another shot at the mission. Once again, we're in the same situation we were on Ahsoka's turn. We need at least 2 successes. There's 2. Anakin will exhaust the Aether Sprite, the BTL Bywing, Wolf, and Comet to get up to 6. Then Ahsoka will exhaust Blitz, GTA2 Actus, Bly, and Hardcase to get up to 10 successes, and we have won the game. So we have managed to defeat Ventress in this play of Star Wars The Clone Wars. So let's move back up top to wrap this video up. Admittedly, I was gambling pretty hard that I was going to duck that planet under siege, because that would have been a lot of stuff to shuffle into the deck, but it might not have been bad. So out of curiosity, where was Planet Under Siege? Assassin, so it wasn't there. Looks like we shuffled it pretty deep into the deck. Night Sister, looks like it was going to be the last card of the deck, so yeah, we very much got away with one there. But that will do it for this playthrough of Star Wars The Clone Wars. So Wednesday we're going to be playing the Hunters from GMT Games, and next week we're going to continue Pandemic Month as we play Pandemic Fall of Rome. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.